Hello, everyone, and welcome to day two of app chat, I guess I'm going to call it, where essentially I'm going over different applications I've explored, different applications I need to explore further, or new releases that have been updated from old applications. Notion having like 28 minutes ago, releasing a small little release, small little change. So I'll be going through all of those things in today's stream. We're going to look at Remnote and Supernotes specifically. I have explored them previously on Twitch. And for those of you that joining me on YouTube, it is something I'm doing all the way through the week, streaming on YouTube every day this week. And that may change over to Twitch, but I want your views. I want your opinions. Do you want me to stay streaming on YouTube, or do you want me to move over to Twitch and stream every day? Because I enjoy talking with everyone. I love having the conversation. I love exploring apps, but I realize not everyone wants me in their YouTube inbox every single day. So let me know in the comment section below if you're watching this on the recap, whether you want me YouTube or Twitch. And if you're in the chat, let me know in chat. So Arvine, good to see you. Gail, good to see you. Andrew, good to see you. Anodi Notion here, also awesome. Hello everyone. Marcelo, good to see you. Kim, good to see you. Awesome, great, loving this. I'm interested in Remnote and Notion and the different uses or how they can be used together. Used together is definitely something that we'll probably need to discuss, because they both have pros and cons in their own special ways. But first, what I want to do is go over Notion's quick release, because it came out. When was the tweet? The tweet was 6:19. So actually almost an hour ago now. So I'll quickly share my screen. So this is on Twitter, so all of you have obviously access to this. As long as you're following Notion, make sure you're following Notion on Twitter. And they say they're working on performance, which is probably why there's been a recent dip in performance. This is my guess. They're working on the back end, so there's been a dip, hopefully looking to improve it. That's my guess. Offline mode, which is very nice, something we spoke about yesterday, Notion not having an offline mode. And then the API, of course, that they've been working on for a while. But they did release this, which essentially gives us appearance differences. So we can still do the dark mode and the light mode, but now they have a separate section in this menu to go either dark mode, light mode, toggle them on and off. And on Mac, you can use system settings. You can see David showing a screen example there. On Windows, I haven't found that use yet, but I've explored it for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, because, like I say, this was released almost 40 minutes ago. So I was getting ready for stream and thought, oh, Notion just released that. I should probably mention it. However, this is very interesting. So if I go into Notion, you can see when we come up to the settings and members, you now have the appearance tab. And this is here, use system settings, light or dark mode. What this does give, though, is loads of space down here. So what I'm thinking, potentially in future, this is just me spitballing ideas here, but they could be giving us more flexibility with how our pages look. So I've explored Excello and some of the other applications that have much more flexibility, Todoist being another one, that give you more custom colors for the sidebar, for the top bar and things like that. And having this appearance tab here, rather than in any of these other tabs in like hidden away somewhere in a button there, it gives me the impression that they're thinking of giving us more flexibility when it comes to appearances. So let me know in the comments below if that's something that came to mind when you first saw this. But I reckon they could be giving us more options in the future when it comes to appearance, what it could look like, maybe a color theme or different options. I really don't know. It's interesting to think about. Yusuf, good to see you. So yeah, that was something that caught my eye just before I came on stream. So when we have a look at, let's bring it up. So that was Twitter. When we have a look at Remnote and Supernote, when we compare them to Notion, Supernotes is what I would class as a sticky note, a digital sticky note taker, very similar to Google Keep. This is something that I've explored on Twitch, like I mentioned earlier, and it is very much this is your note and that's it. So you can see we've got we're on our main homepage here. We've got our today notes. I don't have a card in there currently, so I can create a card. There is my card, new note, and then I'm just going to write whatever that happens to be in there. That is pretty much the extent of Supernotes. It would be amazing if they add a feature to store custom emojis icons. Yes, yeah, that would be nice. I think so. Obviously, you can add them in custom anyway from your documents. But yeah, being able to store them outside of just putting them in a template in a database would certainly be nice. It would save having to go in and changing all the icons and things all the time, because that's annoying. And obviously, clicking unlink and the rest of it. I didn't think of adding flexibility to appearance. I was scratching my head that they just moved a toggle from the sidebar into its own page without adding functionality. I mean, again, I'm just speculating here, and I think someone else actually mentioned it in the Twitter feed when I was scrolling through. I can't remember, but it was the first thing that came to mind. I can't. I'm sure it was somewhere down there, but yeah, and I think because this may be because I've explored other applications and knowing what other apps are doing, and Notion may be following that trend and thinking, maybe we can change the look a bit. Fingers crossed they add some more colors. I mean, actually, that's something else. Maybe they'll give us like a color theming. So instead of having pastel colors, you could also have darker, more vibrant colors, or versions of the colors. I don't know. That could be interesting as well, because even though the aesthetic of Notion is nice, I would much prefer some more obvious colors when you're looking to highlight things, especially when it comes to highlighting notes, changing colors of text and things like that. It can be quite hard to see sometimes, especially when you're going between light mode and dark mode, from my experience anyway. Right, yeah, so Supernotes, this is pretty much all Supernotes does, is you have this, that's your note, and then you can make another note and keep going. So I'm going to quickly finish off that note. And it's there. I can like it, I can comment on it, I can share it. So you still have the basic functionality of what you would do with notes, but Supernotes is very, very similar to Google Keep. Why you would use Supernotes over Google Keep, I'm not sure. Mainly because Google Keep, obviously, you can link with your Gmail, with Google, all the Google stuff. So Supernotes seems to have taken a side note, and I, from my experience, haven't found a reason to pick Supernotes over Google Keep, because there aren't any features that this has that other things don't have. Friends, you can assign people, but that's just sharing documents. Notion has that, Google Keep has that. Anything that has public sharing has this ability. It's nice to have the incoming and outgoing notes in here, but you'd have to be working in a team and using this in a team environment. But from my experience working with people in teams, working as myself in individuals, this isn't substantial enough for big note taking. This is much more quick capture. Okay, this is what I'm going to do here. So let's have a very quick edit. And just to show you, so I'm going to quickly print screen. For those on Windows, I've actually used that shortcut quite a few times. It is Windows Shift S, and you can then select what you want to print screen. And I've now tried to paste it in, and as you can see, it doesn't like it. So I can't print screen and paste the note into here, which is something you can do inside of Notion. So let's go in Notion, just to give you an example. Let's not go on dark mode. Does it have a bidirectional linking? No. No. Supernotes doesn't have bidirectional linking. It doesn't even have backlinking. It's very, very limited with what it can do. Like I say, it's a post-it note app from what I've seen. I will check for hyperlinks, though, to see if you can put hyperlinks in there. So let's quickly go back to the screen grab, come into here, go paste, and there it is. So that's what I was trying to do in Supernotes. Supernotes just didn't let me. So let's quickly copy the URL, because that's the easiest place to access. And then I'll follow that link. Apparently not. If I can't follow the link, why would I want to be in there? Oh, there we go. So you can follow the link through that. So you have to finish it. And this is something I've noticed with, Obsidian's the first thing that comes to mind, and Rome is the other one. This has an edit mode and a viewing mode. This is obviously the viewing mode where the links work, and this is obviously the edit mode. And you can't click through links in the edit mode, which is mildly irritating. But like I say, I think this is more of I'm just going to quickly grab that note, put it to the side, leave it there, and sort it out later. That's how I see Supernotes, because there aren't any features in here that stick out. Very, very basic tagging for priority. But again, I wouldn't see having that many notes in here beneficial. Raffle the Owl tweeted, I'm noticing how much space there is. Yes, exactly. I really want a Dracula theme, and now that I have tried Enhancer, yes, and that's something I think Notion, the team are looking at all the add-ons and things that people are doing third party, and the Notion Enhancer is obviously a massive thing that a lot of the people in the community are using, engaging in. And if you don't know what the Notion Enhancer is, if you're watching this on replay or now in chat, essentially it's an app that you can add-on to Notion. I did a video going over the Notion Enhancer along with loads of other third-party apps you can use with Notion to either change Notion's functionality, add some functionality in there, and Notion Enhancer is probably way up on the list. And they do have, I don't even know what you call it, like a matte black mode, because it's darker than dark mode. It is literally just black. It's black and white, which is nice. And I think that's what Yusuf, I think that's what you're referring to when you say Dracula theme. Why? Anodi Notioneer, you have just mentioned me and then just left it. Hi. I assume that's what it was for. Mohammed, good to see you. Which one is better for Booknote? Comments all came in at once. Booknote and Zettelkasten. So when it comes to Booknotes, quick capture notes, Supernotes is useful. It's useful, but Zettelkasten, anything like that, any sort of archiving of notes, Supernotes is very, very limiting. It is much more, like I say, a post-it note app. Remnote, however, is much more usable when it comes to Zettelkasten. I'm not going to go over Obsidian and Rome in this live stream because they're two other applications. I would probably lean to one of those two applications for Zettelkasten specifically, because Remnote, going into Remnote, is very, very good at space repetition. It's very good at flashcards. Essentially, Remnote is a flashcard application where you can make flashcards from your notes. It's less of a note storing place, note writing place, and more of a, this is my document, because this is how it's framed. So you have your document. I've got the dual panels up. Let's get rid of the dual panels for a second. Oops, there we go. So you have your document, and then you can make questions from the document. This was me exploring. So I explored the application over on Twitch, and essentially each rem, which is the same as a Notion block, can become a question, can become a constant, or a description, or anything like that. So I would see Remnote as great for spaced repetition flashcard memory. There is the ability to do backlinking to an extent, but it's very similar to Obsidian, very similar to Rome's backlinking, but it does have unlinked references like Obsidian and Rome. I'm not personally a big fan of the aesthetic of this, but then this is the aesthetic of these sort of applications when it comes to backlinking, referencing, unlinked references, and all that sort of stuff. So if you do want to make Remnote your archive of storage, I think you may struggle. But if you want it to be your document for revision, for space repetition, then it can be definitely useful. I need to explore it a little bit further when it comes to documenting lots of information. But that's my first overview, my first thoughts, overviews on Remnote, Supernote compared to other applications that are trying to do stuff that's similar. Editing versus viewing modes. I flash back to the one time I mistakenly locked a database and we're going crazy. Gail, I'm bringing that one up. Yes, but I think we have all done that. I know when I first started using Notion, I was playing around with all the buttons. Deliberate play, that's what I do with new applications. Deliberate play with Notion, I locked a database, forgot I'd locked it, and couldn't do anything, just like you. So it's not just you that does that. I did it as well. I mean, it was a while ago now, but I did it as well, and I was like, what is going on? But yeah. Yep. And the editing and viewing mode, I think, is consistent with these sort of applications because of the markdown, the coding that goes on behind the scenes. Because I know Obsidian's still in beta. I think Rome is still technically a beta app. I don't think it's officially released. I'm not 100% sure on that. So apologies if Rome is a real app, real app. Pinocchio reference. I told yes. If you weren't on stream yesterday or previously, you will very quickly learn my attention diverts all over the place. Squirrel moment from up reference there. Squirrel moment. But yeah. So these sort of applications, the what you see is what you get, is something I think these applications need to work on. Notion obviously does that very well. What you see is what you get with Notion. No matter whether you're editing or you're viewing, it looks the same. In Obsidian, you see the markdown unless you change it using a shortcut or whatever that happens to be. And Rome, you still have that markdown, that code looking page before you've exited the block. Whereas Supernotes, Notion, those sort of things, what you see is what you get. I have a question about the list of apps to explore. Okay, I'm gonna bring this question up. I have a question about the list of apps to explore. Is bCanvas on the list? I ran across it today, and it has one feature I hadn't thought of that we could add to the list of like features. Yes. So for those that aren't quite sure what an Notion is referencing there when I say list of not liked features, I did a stream last week, Saturday, I believe, where I listed out a load of features, and on my website I have a list of all the features that I find across all the different applications. It's not one app with the features; it's just a list of all the features I found everywhere. So that could be one feature, one app does really well, and I've just put that in the list. bCanvas, I don't believe it is. So I'm currently exploring Obsidian whilst having a look at Remnote and Supernotes. So I will have a look in my Obsidian database for, oh, I pushed in the wrong thing. Let's have a look for bCanvas. No, it is not in there, so I've just added it in. There we go. So bCanvas is now in there. I'm curious to see what that has. Have you put that in a message below? Yes. Down at the bottom on their dashboard workspace, there is a cool video chat feature a person can use with guest team members. I would like to see if we can bump this up. So that's interesting. So I'm going to bring that up again. This is actually a feature Taskade have in their application. So in Taskade, you have, that's more of a project management thing, but Taskade have your projects and your tasks, and to the side on the right, very similar to the pop-up window that you get with most apps with Asana, ClickUp, Airtable and stuff. When you click on the task, instead of it being a page like it is in Notion, they give you the pop-up window. And Taskade basically is always a pop-up window, which I'm not a fan of because it wastes a lot of space on the page, but hey-ho. And they have that basically always ongoing live chat thing. So yeah, Taskade have that as well, but bCanvas, going to have a look at that as well. Sorry, when I mentioned I was trying to soft enter and no worries. Any plugins for linking Notion Calendar and Google Calendar yet? There is an unofficial API that isn't from Notion that you could use. I don't think it works very well with Google Calendar yet, but they're working on the API. I mean, they mentioned in their tweet that it's something, so I'll bring the tweet, you can still see, yeah. So they mentioned here that the API is the big project they're working on. I know there's a beta team, like a beta cohort at the moment going out with API and testing things, but no, there isn't currently a plugin that works Google Calendar and Notion. Even when the API comes out, I still see me using Google Calendar. The reason I still see me using Google Calendar is because everything integrates with Google Calendar. And if it was to be shown in Notion as a database, that database would be full of every event I have, which I could do. It would function, don't get me wrong, but I think I would prefer it in Google Calendar for the main reason that I will very quickly show you. I have the Google Calendar widget on my phone, and this is where I look at my calendar for events. I don't look at Notion anymore for my events, and the reason it's anymore is because I test so many applications, and Notion is just, it's like a 1 second longer than going on my phone and swiping across. But yeah, there's not a plugin yet, but they're working on it. I know they're working on it. bCanvas seems interesting, but seems very busy from the pictures. I'd like to see Danny explore it as well. Okay, I will. Well, like I say, I've added it to the list, so maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'll have to see. We'll have to have a look. Right. So back to Remnote. When it comes to Notion and space repetition, I've done a video comparing, well, making a space repetition database inside of Notion, and you have more flexibility in Notion with the page. So in Remnote, you can see if I click on the dot is a page, and there you have the reference, there you have the text references. So this is very similar to your linked references, the bidirectional link references and things like that. And each dot is a page, but it's actually a rem. So this is one of those things with terminology. In Remnote, it's a rem. In Notion, it's a block. Or, well, in Notion, it's a page, and you can turn the block into a page. Workflow is another example where each dot is an expandable page. But it's just essentially, this can be lots of different things. And you can see this icon here is a doc. So it differentiates itself from a rem because the docs are here, and each rem could be a block inside of a doc. I recognize these words get very confusing, and I think, what was it, the backlinking video? I say backlinking so many times, and even editing the video, I'm like, what? And these terminologies, can't these apps just call them the same thing? Small little rant there. But yes, so we could say Remnote is good if you need to study something, so you could use it along Notion. Exactly, Marcelo. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I would probably say Notion as a doc wiki style note-taking application beats Remnote, because Remnote, obviously, with the images is limited, the embedding of videos. So if we scroll down, something you would expect when you go slashes is the drop down. And if we quickly go down this drop down menu, rem reference, that's just like a block reference. Insert image, so that has to be a URL image. It can't just be a print screen, grab and drop. So it's not as quick as Notion. Let's go back into that menu. The audio video player is the same thing. So when we come to here, you need the URL. You have to have copied it. You can't just paste it into the page. You have to actually go /video. So it's a small clunky thing. So when note taking in lecture, I probably wouldn't use Remnote. Remnote would be my condensed notes from the lecture that I want to revise from. LaTeX Math, if anyone's using math, QuoteBlock, CodeBlock, all of these are consistent across most note-taking applications now. From what I've seen, you'll see a date picker. That's in Rome. It's in Obsidian. It's obviously in Notion. The CodeBlock, the QuoteBlock. Emojis. There's no shortcuts for emojis for some reason. I mean, come on. Just type out the emoji. Anyway, reminder to edit, tag as document. Then we have this, which this still, right now, I'm still trying to get my head around this. So you can have a doc, a rem, and a parent rem. A parent rem, from my understanding currently, is essentially a block that has a block in it. So like a toggle, a Notion toggle. And a parent rem is like the toggle block, and then the rem would be the thing underneath it. That's my current understanding and how I would reference that if I was explaining it to someone that knew Notion. Zoom into rem, that is literally just clicking into the rem. So some of these things in the drop-down are actually just actions, like what you can do on your keyboard, and you can see over here you've got all the shortcuts, and these aren't adjustable. It's something I've seen in some applications now where you have adjustable shortcuts. Notion doesn't have this. Obsidian is what I'm using at the moment, and they have adjustable shortcuts, and it is so nice to be able to pick what buttons you want to push for what actions. It speeds up a lot of the process. So as an example, in Notion, when we have our blocks, we've got all of these different blocks. Come on, highlight them. We've got all of these different blocks. To move it up, I have to click and drag. There's no shortcut to it. In Obsidian, I can actually map any shortcut I want, any hotkey I want, to move that block up and down, whether that's Control-1 or Control-2. That's what I use. But it could be anything else you want. And the block would move up and down from a keyboard shortcut. Notion doesn't have that. Obsidian does. This doesn't yet, but it does have lots of shortcuts. Let's go into there. But this does have lots of shortcuts to be able to do a lot of the things that you may want to use. Okay, insert current time, tag with parent, blah, 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 copy. So copy rem reference, copy rem tag, and all of the rest of this, you can see it's very much an action-focused function rather than something you can insert into Notion. So this slash menu isn't the same as Notion, because Notion, you can insert lots of things. You can embed images, you can embed Loom videos, anything else like that, or you have all of the text functions. In here, it's not the same, because this is very focused on flashcards. And we'll carry on scrolling down, but we have all of those things. So when we highlight this, you can see it's a note. And we also have the option to add the colors, add the highlights, and change basic things about the text. But there's nothing special in here. Ooh, didn't want to do that. But there's nothing special in here that separates Remnote from Notion. So if you're comparing those two, when it comes to text editing, text formatting, there's nothing really in here. As you saw earlier, I did have the second window, the pop-up window. So in Remnote, it functions very similar to Rome and Obsidian. You have a pop-up window. You can have a second pop-up window, but you can't have columns in a page. So I can't drag this to the side. It's just not possible. You can embed it. You can tab it across, but you can't move it to the side. It's just a list of stuff going all the way down the page. So if you do want aesthetic notes, or you want to condense all of your notes on one page using columns, using images, embedding things like that, then Remnote won't look very nice from a note-taking standpoint. Having said that, if you do want to do this in Notion, you can. But here you have the lines, and it functions. If you prefer this type of list view, this works better than Notion, because Notion is just a load of bullet points, and not the bullet points aren't toggleable. So you would need to be able to toggle every single point, which could be a restriction. Something else to note, as you saw when it came up, is references. Because all of these rems are blocks, it will show everything that it's referenced to. Now, I haven't made any references, I don't think, to any of these things. Is this a question? Yes, there we go. So this is something that you can do in Remnote that you can't do in Notion, because it is based on rems, references, questions, and things like that. So if we come up into our queue, I've only actually made one question. This is my essentially flashcards for the day, and this will then come up from any of the docs that you have. So if we go into a doc and we make another flashcard, I'm going to have to remember how to do this now. So I believe it's that one. I believe. Hopefully I've done that right. If not, my bad. I'm learning as I go sometimes. and this is what some of the streams will be. It will literally be me going, what? I'm confused. Oh, look, there we go. There it is. Maybe it was question there, answer. I think that's there. Let's have a look. There we go. That's how we do it. I knew I'd done it somewhere. So I now have the question and answer in the doc. So you could be writing loads of notes. And then you can, oh, wow, can't spell, writing notes. And then you can write the question inside whatever's going on, whatever the doc happens to be. Then when you go to your queue, it will be in your queue of questions. So let's just say that's the answer to the question, which I knew it was, because obviously that's what I'd written. And then you can pick all these different options, 24 hour, 3 days, 24 days. So it gives you an idea of how long the card will come back up. So let's just go 24 hours, very quick, nice and easy. Next one, show answer. Oh, like I got it right. And it shows you where it is. So if you've written notes in a lecture and the lecture is named the document, so for example, you took a lecture in biology and the document is called biology, up here it will say biology, and then I'll have the question and then the answer. Then what you can do is then push whatever button you want, whatever button you need for revision. So let's go 24 hours. And look at that. I got some fireworks with the dog meme. I'm pretty sure that's a setting that you can turn off, but that's a bit fun. So for note taking, I would take the notes in Notion and move them into Remnote if I want to archive the notes and things like that. Having said that, if I want to... Thank you. Having said that, if I want to do backlinks or unlinked references or things like that with my notes, I would probably go to something like Roman or Obsidian that have those notes, and then for revision purposes, use Remnote. However, that does mean that you're going to have duplicated notes, which is not fun, not great. So I personally wouldn't do that, but it's something to consider. If anyone has any questions, let me know as well. One note, with Notion, you can export a database and create an Anki's deck flashcards, so similarly used to Remnote. Yes, very good point, Marcelo. Very good point. However, when it comes to exporting stuff from Notion and putting it into Anki, yes, it works, but you have to do it every time. So when you add a new note or add a new flashcard into a Notion database or whatever that happens to be, you then need to export it and put it into Anki, or you'd need to put it in Anki in the first place. Whereas in Remnote, wherever you make the question, it's going to be in your queue. So it doesn't matter where you make the question, when you make the question, how you make the question. It will always be put in a queue as long as it's read as a question. Let's bring up multiple panes, and there we go. So now we have two panes going on, so we could have one thing in there. Let's just add a document. New document for, I don't know, what was the example I used? I think it was biology. Biology. New notes about stuff, arms, legs. You can see I'm really thinking right now. and then I don't know, what is the brain for? Thinking. There we go. So we now have a question. We now have our answer. We go into the queue, and there is our question. So let's just go. Next. Oh, wow. It's giving me a different thingy. Give me a different thingy. Show answer. Next. And there it is. So it's showing biology. What is the brain for? And then fill in the blank. And I believe there are different types of questions you can put into here, very similar to Anki as well. But like I say, I still need to explore Remnote a little bit further in some ways. Can I just come back? Nope. Nope. You've hit your daily target. Great. Thank you. Let me out. Let me out. Okay. Something else I'm just noticing as well, or thinking about is obviously they have the sidebar and you can hide the sidebar, which is nice, which is cool. But how do I see this? Where do I see this? Where's the hierarchy of this? This is what I'm thinking about, and that is something I have not explored yet. So I will probably have a little look as to what is going on with this, because I'm curious. I don't know how many other people are curious to see what's going on with the hierarchy. What? Finish. You don't have any documents here. Drag. Okay. Finish documents. Can I just drag that down? Yes. What does that mean? Why is that done? Why is that different? Why is that different? I don't understand. And this is the part of the stream where I start looking into the application and trying to figure stuff out without swearing too much. If any of you know Remnote better than me, feel free to let me know what I'm doing wrong, where I'm going wrong, or anything like that. But yeah, practice Rem in this folder. Is there even a hierarchy? Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, how do I surface stuff? How do I find stuff? That's just there. Close this pop-up. You just opened the queue that only contains Rem in the note. Okay, so that is those flashcards. Fine. That still doesn't help with the hierarchy. Esteban, good to see you. It's Danny NY, but never mind. I was about to try Anki, but discovered Remnote because of Gregory. Should try Anki or go to Remnote directly. So Esteban, I was literally just covering Remnote and Anki kind of, and Anki is flashcards. It's all flashcards, and depending on the type of flashcard you're making, Anki's probably the best way to go. Having said that, when you're taking notes, you can't take notes in Anki, so you need to take notes somewhere else and then make the flashcards there. Whereas Remnote, you take the notes and make the flashcards there, like in here. But what I'm currently struggling to figure out is the hierarchy of these notes. Something. Because it just looks like it has to be the sidebar, because I don't know whether it would be in the page unless you make a map of content dashboard inside of here. But then you wouldn't have, does that have flashcards for that page? I don't think it does. Danny, sorry. Oh, no worries. No worries. Spelling is spelling. One of my friends is named Danny. Yes, I understand that. If irrespective of what like gender, sex I was born, I was always going to be Danny. And it was just either DANNY or DANI. So either way works. It's just, obviously, Danny's how my name is spelled currently. And I don't plan on changing it, so I don't know why I said currently, but yeah. So hierarchy of notes. Obviously, in Notion, you can have a dashboard, and then you can link the pages wherever you need. Remnote, from what I'm seeing, because the flashcard is going to come up to the note it's in, not this. Because actually, if I make something in here, so question answer, is that going to show let's go something question, is that going to show that it's in the something, or is it going to show that it is in the note? Let's have a look. So we've got this one. Is there a quick way to skip through notes? There must be a quick way to skip through notes. Flip the button order. No, maybe it's in the shortcuts. So that one's in note. That one is also in note. Yes, so it is showing whether it's in a lower tier. That's useful. Okay, so troubleshooting the hierarchy now. Go away. Let me out of here. Let me out. Breadcrumb above something from the hierarchy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw that. I was like, there must be some way of viewing it. So it looks like it's down here. Would I be able to link 2 pages? So we've got the note, we've got the something. If I make a question in there, we're good. So let's rename the note very quickly to a subject. So that's a subject. This is a lecture in that subject. Actually, no. Let's go topic. And then this is a lecture. I can then move that into there, can't I? Is it like that? There we go. Yes. So now I've got the question in there. So now does this question show up saying subject, topic, lecture? If it does, then I think we're getting there. Subjects. Show answer, go away. Subject, topic, lecture. Look at that. Look at that. It is. That's nice. Try to create future date. How to do it? What would you, Andy? What do you mean by future date? Oh, are you talking about a flashcard in a future date? Oh, getting out of flashcards is mildly irritating. So I'm assuming that's going to be inside the flashcard menu somewhere. Actually, maybe it's going to be in settings. Let's have a look at settings. Q, autoplay audio. I don't have any audio. Type in answer. There we go. That's nice. Visual indicators. Cool. Cute dogs. Let's turn that off. I don't want cute dogs. I like dogs, don't get me wrong, but I don't want cute dogs every time I hit my target. Left-handed mode. I'm not left-handed. Document cluster, reference cluster, statistics, daily target. Okay. Custom scheduler. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's in this one. So solid 24 hours, 4 days. That is not what we're looking for. I want the flashcard to go. Once I've done the flashcard, it's, I assume, going to appear the next day for whenever it needs to appear, which is understandable, but I don't want it to appear again. How do I just skip it? Oh yes. When I explored this on Twitch the other day, they have a graph view, very similar to obviously the other applications. So they also have a graph view. So you can see your questions related to your topics and everything else that's going on, which is very nice. That looks very, very nice. Something I will say, though, that's sort of just sprung to mind is Remnote is another cloud-based application. So unless they added it literally in the last 4 days, no, there's no offline mode or backups or anything like that. So it would be the same process for Notion when it comes to backing up information. Whereas Anki, I believe you can save fairly well. There's an offline mode. You don't need internet to work with Anki, from my understanding, unless that's changed slightly, or I had internet at some point when I was revising using Anki. But yeah, it's a bit complicated to create future daily note. You need to type in full. Oh, okay. It's a bit complicated to create future daily note. You need to type full date name. Full date. I have to take. Oh, you're talking about a daily note, not a flashcard. I thought you were referencing dating the flashcard. So can I just go today, search for date, and then just type out whatever that happens to be? Oh, 2 exclamation marks. That's short. I can't use the arrow keys. Really? Okay. Let's try this again. I mean, there's the date on that. That's a daily note, I assume, because then I can come to here and then go writing stuff. And that's going to be in the daily note. Is that going to be a document? I don't think that's going to be shown as a document, is it? No, it's not. They are documents, though. That's finished, pinned. That's interesting. I thought the subject was a. Oh no, okay, that's not a rem. I thought it was a rem, but it's not. It's not. It's a document. That's my bad. Right. I'm still definitely learning the application, but I'm still not a fan of the way the sidebar works when it comes to navigations, because I would connected, disconnected. What was going on there? I'm definitely still connected to the internet, so that's a Remnote thing. let's close down Supernotes for a second. Leave. Yes, I don't like Supernotes. And if you're just joining, Supernotes, basically it's a sticky note application. That's pretty much it. You can't really do much with it. You might as well just use Google Keep. Okay, Remnote. Let's carry on exploring. So how do I make the flashcard disappear once I've done it today? How do I make the flashcard disappear once I've done it today? And this is add this rem to your edit later document. No. Edit this rem now. No. Disable the flashcard press. No. You don't want to disable it. Thanks, man. No worries. No worries. Happy to help. Happy to help. Disable all flashcards from this rem. No. From this rem. I thought this was a document. Doesn't that say document? That's a document there. Is it this rem you're talking about? Accidentally press show answer to early, try again in an hour. But it's still going to show because, yep, show again in an hour. Show answer, immediate, daily target, done. Okay, let's go back. I've pushed the button. Keep learning. And it's come up with the same questions. It's come up with the same questions, hasn't it? Am I just being silly, or has it literally just come up with the same questions? Cue card checkpoint, 6 cards. Let me think. A little much, yeah. Well, I think this is one of those things, though. I apologize if I say your name wrong. Chitachi? Is that right? I feel like that. I've just butchered that. I feel like I absolutely butchered that. It's the funniest Remnote lesson. So the thing is about these live streams, right, Andy, is it's not a lesson, it's an exploration. You see? So I've explored these applications before. Hair in my mouth. I've explored these applications before, but not extensively. It's just like, lol, that was great. Yeah. Like I say, I've explored these applications before, but not enough like Notion. This is what these streams are like, because a lot of these applications I'm literally learning as I'm going, which is what I want to do, which is why I want to stream it rather than me go, I'm going to spend 4 or 5 hours exploring this application in the dark and then suddenly go, here's a 10-minute video. Because if people want the 10-minute video, obviously they'll watch the 10-minute video. But having the discussions and you guys learning with me is just like a fun experience. Plus, if anyone has any questions, they can just come and join me live. And I can learn from you, because it's so much easier and so much more fun to learn an application or learn something in general, when there are other people that are either doing something with you, learning along with you, or already know what you're doing and can be like, oh, just push this or just push that. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you for helping, because browsing the internet, finding answers is just irritating. Just from my experience, it's more fun doing it in a live stream. Remnote doesn't have a good fresh tutorials. I mean, they've got guided tutorials here, but I never look at tutorials. That's what I'm learning right now with your tutorial. Tutorial. I mean, they've got things here. They've got things here, but I can't be doing with reading these. I don't like reading these. I really love this approach. I saw Doc doing the same. Learning in community and then show results if anyone wants just the answer. Doc. I recognize that. I recognize Doc. Why do I recognize it? I think was Doc a guest on the Notion office hours with Marie? I feel like he was a guest on Notion office hours. And I won't be exploring applications all the time, because there are people so there's quite a few people in the app, what would you call it? App niche, app area, app industry, that obviously know applications very well. So I'll be bringing those sort of people into the live streams, having conversations, then probably teaching me a bit about the app because they know the app, and having conversations just in general about how to potentially apply the app, not to apply the app, or things like that. And it would be amazing to get the developers of applications to show how the application works for them, how they're using it. Because I feel like loads of the development teams, I mean, Notion included, they say, this is the app, this is how we do it, and then they do the odd, this is how I use it. From a team standpoint, I understand you can't share team workspaces. But I would imagine, because the team use the app, they probably use it for their personal use as well. So if they were to, I don't know, clean it up, like censor it a bit, censor their space, they could show how they use the application, and they know the application the best. And that would just be something interesting for me, and I don't know whether you guys would enjoy that as well, but yeah. Agreed. I need to come to these more. Agreed. I'm assuming the agreed bit was the about the exploring and learning together bit. I'm guessing. Chitachi. Oh wow, this is something with, I don't know whether it's English specific, but maybe English speaking countries, but names, pronunciation, however you say it, of names is really difficult for some people in the UK for whatever reason. As soon as I see names, I'm like, how do you say that? Like even Esteban, I think. It's just, I'm reading the names, I'm like, I don't recognize, like Andy, Ben, Dan, David, Danny, like they're easy. Marie, like they're the easier names for me to pronounce, because I guess they're similar to the words that I use. And I'm looking at names, I'm like, oh, I don't want to butcher this. But yeah. Doc Williams. Yes, that's the one. Yes, that's the one. Actually, he did a video recently. What was it? I think it was Glide and SharePoint, maybe? So yeah, I am subscribed to Doc. Actually, maybe I could get Doc on the channel and talk with Doc, because he obviously knows loads of applications, comparing applications. I think he's more app builder type stuff. But yeah, that could be an interesting conversation, because I know he knows a lot of applications. Or just to hang out and chit chat while we are doing our own projects as well. Community bonding. Exactly. Having a chit chat, having me in your ear for an hour or so during the day. You know. I don't know why you'd want me chit chatting at you, because I can babble on for hours. I need to readjust my seating position. Doc was learning how to use an app with someone with the app team on live. That was great. Yeah, and I think learning an application live is a better experience for anyone else learning the app as well, new, because you have the same questions. This is something I've experienced when learning something. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring myself up a little bit bigger for the moment. This is something I've realized, I think most people have realized to some extent, is when you're trying to learn either an application, a process, a system, something in education from someone that knows the topic extensively well, it is very easy for them to overlook things that, being a beginner, you're like, what? And it's so easy to assume, like, as a expert in whatever it is that people are teaching, it's so easy to assume people know certain things. So in my first few videos in Notion, as a perfect example, I assumed people knew how to push the widescreen button in Notion, and a lot of people didn't, and they were so confused about how I was making columns so big in Notion. Because I've been using the app for so long, I just assume people knew it. So learning an application live and being the beginner learning the app, it's kind of like that one page ahead of the teacher type thing, ahead of the student type thing, where I'm learning just that one page ahead. So you have questions when you've just started using the app, and I've been using the app for, I don't know, 2-3 days. I can answer those questions because I've literally just dealt with them, just had to troubleshoot them. Whereas someone who's been using the app for so long, they may just glance over bits that you just look at and go, what? And it is the same thing when I'm looking at people trying to teach code. Is something I'm looking to learn in 2021. People explaining code know how to code, and they use terms when they're explaining how to code, and I don't even know what the terms mean. They'll say, oh yeah, you start by using this, and this. I'm like, okay, what are all three of those things, and how do I do what you've just tried to explain? And I understand there are paid courses for it, but I don't want to spend loads of money, so I'd much rather figure it out myself eventually. But those sort of tutorials irritate me slightly. Like when just as from my experience, people say terminal. It took me like three hours to understand what a terminal was, what it like to me, a terminal is where airport. That's where you stand in the airport. Terminal A, terminal B, south, west, east, whatever. Terminal for coding, I'm completely lost. No idea. And then people start comparing what I thought were different languages, but they weren't languages. They were just things that you put the languages in. And I'm like, what? But people that knew code knew all of that. I didn't. So learning the app live, you ask all the silly questions, the beginner questions. So everyone can work with you. I realized I kind of went on a little bit of a rant there. Let's see. We have international chat. I'm from Moscow, but I think that's Russia. My geography is atrocious. So is my English, like written English. I think that's Russia. So hello, good to see you. Esteban. Yeah, I can see your name. It's just pronunciation, however you say it. It's one of those things. It's just, yeah. It's funny how different today's stream is to yesterday's. Today is actually about the topic and not just chit chat, but I like the balance. Well, you say it's about the topic. I went through Notion's tweet in a couple of minutes. Then I've got rid of it now. I went through Supernotes, and Supernotes is post-it note. Done. And Remnote, kind of like I've got to a point now where I'm like, okay, I understand the app. There's just small nitty gritty things, and like I say, with the cycle of learning, I don't know how many of you have heard me say this: deliberate play, deliberate practice, research. I've done so much deliberate play now that I've been applying it, so deliberately practicing what this is. And I'm at a point now where I kind of need to research how to do some of the nitty gritty things in here, which could involve me going into a community, figuring something out, and then coming back and going, okay, this is how you do this, this, and this. And that is Remnote for me right now. And obviously I'm going a little bit tangenty, but yeah, chit chatting is just fun. I like the chit chat. That's kind of why I like streaming. I like talking with people. So Kim, thank you for bringing it up, because I like talking to people. But obviously I can only talk to people if people talk to me. Otherwise I just end up talking. Well, I guess I'm already talking at a camera, and I'm not getting a response, but I'm getting a text response. So I could just pretend I'm getting responses, and then I would kind of look weird and mad. But yeah, sorry, a full comment was Esteban. Okay, yeah, so I did say it right. We need to quote that, Danny, the expert teaching versus the beginner teaching. Exactly. And this is something that I know a lot of people, when it comes to watching streams on particularly YouTube or webinars and things like that, when they do webinars, they approach it from someone that knows, and it's not that they know that they know what they're talking about. This is going to kind of like go meta, Notion brain right now, Inception. They know that they know what they're talking about, but they don't know what the audience knows. So they can essentially have two approaches. They just go broad and go, this is rough stuff. If you don't understand these things, go do my course. And that's how everyone seems to do it nowadays. It's kind of here's some information. If you don't understand it, go buy my course. If you don't have the money, or you don't have the time to do the course, or it's not really the time to do the course because you time to free stuff. Normally it's don't have the money, don't want to spend the money on doing that thing, and you want to learn it yourself freely, which I do. Finding those resources online is quite difficult. And I understand from a business standpoint, it makes sense. But it's just irritating when you're watching a webinar or you're watching a live stream or a video, and you're sitting there going, this is great, but I'm stuck on like step 1. Please help me on like step 1. Or what does that word mean? It's like when you're reading in academics. It's like when you're reading a paper, reading an article or something like that. You're going through it and you end up going, okay, Google define that. Google define that. Google define that. And you end up having like a glossary of words that you're like, okay, I understand these words now. I think I can decode what the introduction says. Maybe that's just me. But being able to decode the words that the teachers, the experts are using is massive. And something like when it comes to all of these applications, you can still see it, can't you? Yeah. When it comes to all these applications, it's the same thing. Terminologies. This is a rem or a block or a page or a data entry or a point. They're all the same thing. Just use the same friggin' words so we don't get confused. Google define that. So true. Yup. Well, I mean, yes. I mean, so this right here is exactly why this tab is here, because I go in there and I will have define whenever I'm reading an article. This is what it'll be: define colon and then just insert word. Constantly insert word. Define narcissist apparently is really common, but yeah, define, and I'll have the article up here. I'll be reading it. I'm like, okay, define, what's that word? And like, oh, that's what that word means. You look back at the sentence, you go, it still doesn't make sense. Yeah, there's so many things as students that I feel like every student can relate to, but I haven't seen many people talk about. And maybe this is coming from a student perspective, but lecturers, a lot of lecturers, I guess maybe it's because it's a different age with all the digital searching technology and the rest of it. But so many of the lecturers that I had, they were just like, I'll go read a book. I'm like, read a book? No, Google. I'm Googling that. And the way people educate themselves, learn now, it's so much online, and lecturers need to catch up. Just preference. I mean, this is something actually I spoke with some of my lecturers about before I graduated. Is they were doing so. I've said to them, why don't you make some videos explaining this stuff? Just basic understanding. Strength and conditioning is my degree, and there's a lot of data analysis when it comes to force production, and any sort of analysis when it comes to reps, sets, load, RPE numbers, or anything like that. It's like either SPSS, depending on if you're doing a study or something like that, or you're using Excel. And a lot of that is boring in a lecture. So if you make a video, younger people are more likely to watch it and consume it because it's a video. They can speed it up, they can slow it down. And let's be real, if we all had a remote control in school, we would speed up the teacher sometimes. Like, yeah, skip this, I don't want to hear your life story. Maybe that's just my experience, but it's just like, come on, move on, next, tell me something interesting, which is why so many people look out the window. You're just like, what is going on? I just thought narcissist is a common used word, yet it is in the top searches. That means that even though we use the word frequently, not everyone understands it. And I think that's consistent just with words in general. When you're looking at words in general, a lot of people use words because they know how someone else has used the word. That speeding up was what I thought during the lecture today. Yeah. Look out the window, come on, where's the next point? Where's the next thing that's useful? I mean, maybe it's kind of the same as listening to the live stream. Listening now, you might be going, okay, where's the next point? Where's the next thing that's useful? But live streaming, it's here for the conversation. Anyway, rabbit hole, I went off. What was I talking about, Esteban? Oh yeah, narcissistic words. I think a lot of people use words from the way that they've seen words be used rather than them actually knowing what the word means, which is why I get irritated sometimes when people use words. I'm like, that didn't make sense. And maybe this is me being a little bit, what is the right word? I'm not sure what the right word is. But some people use words in the wrong context. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But I know what they mean. Yeah, but I know what they mean. 2.5 hours of group presentation after 4 hours of exams. You were the archaeologists, was it? Andy, are you doing archaeology? I think that's. Oh, it won't even be in this chat because it was yesterday. I think it was archaeology. Let me know in chat if it was archaeology. If not, but 4 hours of exams. If they're like multiple choice exams, ugh. Well, I did want to put the video on 2 times speed. Yeah. Yeah, so that's actually funny. So there's a couple of conferences that happen around, well, loads of different things, and there was a couple of conferences that came out and they were video, and they had planned all these videos out to be 8 hours long, but I watch everything times 2 speed. So I watched the video, I was like, okay, I've watched it, next one, and I couldn't go to the next one because it hadn't been like released, and I was like, so you're saying I have to watch the video, wait an hour, and then watch a video, then wait an hour because they were 2 hour course module things. I was like, this is so annoying. And when watching videos as well now, or previously when watching videos for university, everyone was watching a video, watching whether it's a lecture or whatever that happened to be, normally an instructional video on analysis or statistics, because let's be real, no one likes that stuff. Even people that have done statistics don't like that stuff. And those, yes, archaeology, but currently I'm doing the minor in art and religion. Oh, okay, archaeology, I got it right. Yes. Yeah, I completely forgot what I was saying now. Are we going to change the title of the video to Super Deep Thoughts? Can I even change the title of the video now that it's published on YouTube? I know I can on Twitch. It's one of those things when it comes to like Twitch for YouTube. And this is something this is something that I've heavily developed. Had to decide on. Actually, that was a bad idea. I apologize if you get a load of replay because I've just brought up YouTube. So apologies in advance when you get an echo or anything like that. So if you're using headphones, maybe just like give it a second. I haven't. Be quiet. I'm going to stop talking until that's actually stopped. I haven't got a. That was a bad idea. I apologize if you. Yeah, we go. There we go. Okay, it's paused. It's paused on my screen now. Haven't actually got a dislike on this one. The last few live streams, I got a load of dislikes, and I'm like, if only I really cared. I do care about the dislikes if there's a constructive piece of criticism after it. Otherwise, I'm really not that fussed. And that's just thick skin that I think you need. Right? Can I edit? I don't think edit video. Let's go into here. See if I can edit what's going on. Lol. I just saw lol. Oh, that was probably to the echoey stuff. But yeah, like my conversations, I like I've said quite a few times, I'm always diverting. And YouTube, I feel like YouTube conversations are meant to be directed. They're meant to be, this is the value of the video. This is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're doing. Can I change this? No, I can't. No, I can't. It's not going to let me because never mind. I can't save the changes. But I guess I could, because then I could save the changes, but then I wouldn't be ranking for the same things. Never mind, or whatever. People can watch the beginning of the video and then realize when I go on a ramble, then I go like sideways. But I wouldn't say they're super deep thoughts. I'd just say they're opinions about education. This is exactly what the just chatting category on Twitch is for. Just chatting. Maybe, I mean, obviously we've been doing a bit of an app chat to start with, and we've still got Remnote coming up. And this is inline math, by the way, just as like a real side note. Inline math, latex math inside Remnote. But yeah, the education. Oh wow, I told you, I'm all over the place. The education, like the student experience and the rest of it. There aren't, from what I've seen anyway, there aren't many stories of postgrad students, like master's students or undergraduate students, and them just being real, chatting. I haven't found them on Twitch yet. I've been looking, but obviously Twitch is gaming focused. Oh, sorry, I thought I once did it, but no need. Yes, so I assume that's in reference to changing the title. I can change the title, but then the thumbnail wouldn't match the title, and you'd be like, what is going on? Because obviously YouTube, you have a thumbnail, whereas Twitch, you don't. Twitch is literally just snapshot of something. There you go. But yeah, if I would say like deep thoughts on education, and then it's got like Remnote, Supernotes, and Notion in the thumbnail, a little bit confusing. Which is probably why I'm leaning towards streaming on Twitch more, and then just coming to YouTube to do the app conversations. Yeah, this is probably why I'm leaning Twitch direction, and it also means on Twitch I can actually have a mess around. I can play around with different things, whereas YouTube is very restricting. Like playing music on YouTube is literally impossible. I mean I can. It's just I can't play anything from Spotify, and Twitch is going that way, but you can still get away with it currently. And then there's the swearing thing. If I swear on YouTube, it's completely demonetized, which I'm not fussed about, but it's also going to put a mark on my channel for videos as well, and that's just irritating. So swearing is kind of a non-option. Hi, Esteban. There's 2 Estebans? Wow. Sorry. I know I shouldn't be going wow, but wow. Like, I didn't. Okay. Hello, Esteban and Esteban. I'm sorry, late, but I want to say that Remnote's aesthetics is awful. I mean, I wouldn't disagree. I think Remnote, Rome, Obsidian, they're all the same when it comes to aesthetics. Let's get rid of this help page because I am not reading that. I think they're all very similar when it comes to aesthetics. Obsidian, you can put custom CSS in it, so it's much more customizable. I don't think you can do it currently. I will have a look at the plugins, that's statistics of flashcards, about, yeah. I don't think currently there is a way to change it. But the aesthetic of image search, word counter, word cloud, CSS, no, it doesn't look like you can. But yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say it's awful. I would say it's minimal. I would say it's minimal. White and black, dots and lines, which is what these sort of note-taking apps are. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna write this down in Remnote and probably move it over to Obsidian or Notion. But actually, can I even? Nope, didn't want to tag. I wanted to heading. Can I heading? Can I heading? Not by the look of it. Are you serious? Oh, it was there. It was at the top. Heading 1. There we go. Heading. Yeah, so post-it note apps. So Supernotes, Google Keep, those sort of applications, I would class as post-it notes. They're very much, here's a very quick capture thing, dump it here for memory for whatever that happens to be. I think Sticky Notes is Windows as well. Sticky Notes is something you can have on Windows. I think Tiago Forte uses that. So there are post-it note apps, note-taking apps. And then there's just use what it's called, network thought. The network thought apps, which is the bidirectional linking and all of that sort of stuff. So that's the Roams, the Obsidians. Craft is one that comes to mind as well. Is there anything else that does it well? I mean, Notion's backlinks suck. Sorry, they just do. Yeah, so I think they're the main 3 that come to mind. Remnote kind of are in that bucket. So you've got network thought, note-taking apps. And then you have documenting, note-taking apps, which are things like Coda, things like Notion, the ones that you have nice-looking docs. So they're sort of from the business world, like SOPs. They're nice things, kind of like your Word, your Word PDF doc that you hand out to everyone. That's what those sort of applications do. The documenting type apps for this is a page that I want to share with people to explain this thing or to justify that thing. A little too minimal for my liking. I like being able to add personality into my workspace. Completely agree. Which is why I think Remnote is much more a functional application over use. And it's very similar to which do you think is best for quick capture? Ooh, interesting question. I'll get on that in a second. So, I was going to say something. What was it? Personality into your workspace. Oh yeah. So when I compared Coda and Notion, Coda is very functionality focused rather than user focused. Notion is much more user focused than functionality, which is why I think Notion has such a big audience in like the influencer and student market, essentially, because it's user focused rather than functionality, even though loads of people want functionality. And I think Rome, Obsidian, Remnote lack the user experience because they have the functionality, which, coming back to the editing or what was the other mode? The editing or the viewing modes, those 2 modes. And that's just a user experience thing. Quick capture, best for quick capture. So that's actually my next little point, which was quick capture notes. And the quick capture note apps aren't typically any of these. The Post-it note app could be there, but most of the time, a Post-it note app, you need to go in, make the Post-it note, make the note, and then leave the app, which if you're going to use that there, then you could just do that in any of these other apps. So for example, if I was to go onto my phone now and I wanted to do a quick capture app, I could go to any documenting app, Notion as an example as a documenting app. I would click on the app, I would go into the quick note page and then type it out. If it was Google Keep, same thing. Open Google Keep, open up the note, and then write it in the page. So the process is still a 3-step process to capture that note. The network thought is exactly the same thing. However, most network thought applications don't have a phone application. And let's be real, most quick capture is done on done on our phones. So network thought, when it comes to quick capture, I don't like. Having said that, quick capture clipping could be done from any of these if it has a clipper. Evernote is a very good clipper. Notion has a good clipper. Coda has a limited clipper. So there are loads of clippers out there. Evernote probably being the best clipper if you want to clip articles, blogs, things like that. Instapaper is another application where you could literally just take that stuff. But that's clipping rather than quick capturing. The way I would see quick capturing is taking a note from your mind, something you've thought about, something you're like, okay, I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I need to remember this thing. If I've got an application open already, then obviously I'll use that. If not, then I typically like to use my voice recorder. So you see at the bottom of my phone there, I have my voice recorder right there, so I can just swipe up, sign into my phone, and then I just talk at my phone because it's easier for me anyway to talk than it is to write. So I use my voice recorder as my quick capture app, and it's just the default Android voice recorder. The reason I use that, one, it's easy to capture. Two, it's also easy to explain rather than having to type, because I'm not very fast at typing. My spelling is bad. My grammar is bad unless I'm actively thinking about it. So it's easier just to talk at my phone and then look at it later on. So when it comes to quick capture, I think it depends what you're quick capturing. If it's a note from your head, I would go audio. If it's a clip from an article, I would probably go Evernote or Instapaper, depending on how your workflow works. But if it's just a video link, then it can be anything that clips the link. You could just copy and paste. Notion obviously clips the link and then embeds it into the page. And I guess it also comes down to what you're going to do with the note afterwards. And this is something interesting when it comes to note taking in general. If you're taking, like from my experience doing the master's degree, taking notes, I said this yesterday, taking notes is easy. Taking notes that are useful is not. So taking notes in lecture, you could note take verbatim, or you could just write down some notes that you understand in that moment. But when you come back to it, if you don't know what you're talking about, the note's useless. Google Keep also has a voice recorder function. It does. But don't you just have to open Google Keep and then voice record? Is there a shortcut with Google Keep to jump straight to their voice recorder? Because otherwise it's just, I think it would still be the 3 clicks. But let me know, Kim, because I have not used Google Keep on my phone, because obviously I've been using my voice recorder on Android. Because every keyboard has the voice recorder in it. And Todoist definitely does that best out of all the applications. Todoist with the natural language processing definitely does that best. I mean, TickTick is close, but not quite. But yeah, and then so going back to the note taking. Taking good notes that you can use. Like I said this yesterday, if you take a note and you pretend you are like as a 5-year-old trying to understand what that's saying, if you write it like that, then when you go back to it, you don't remember what you took the note on. Maybe it's 1 day, 2 days, a couple hours. Sometimes I take a note, completely forget I've taken the note, and look back and go, what was that? Or it could be in the lecture or watching the video. Like there's been a couple of times where I've watched a video, taken notes in the video, I've gone back to my notes and gone, what was that about? And I've had to go back to the first minute of the video to go, what was it talking about? Because I didn't take the note. I didn't take the note well enough that I could understand it later on. I think it's called the Feynman Technique, I want to say, where you take a note and you try and make it as simple as possible. And that's exactly what I do. I make my notes as simple as possible when I'm taking them. So when I look back at it, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm looking at. Make notes for yourself. Make notes for your future distracted self. Exactly that, Esteban. And it's actually interesting. When I was taking notes at uni, when I was drawing notes, I actually found the notes where I was getting distracted and doing lots of other things. Those were the notes that I understood best because I spent so much time doing random doodle stuff and my brain going off in different directions because I had different mental bullet points as to why that note was important. With the iPhone, okay, first, before I even read the rest of it, I don't have an iPhone. But anyway, I'm assuming Android has something similar. With the iPhone widget, you can choose between note, to-do list, picture, drawing, and audio. So if you have the widget on your home screen, it's only one click. Nice. I may need to explore to see if Android has that. I'm not an Apple user, like, at all. I don't have anything Apple other than, obviously, the apples in the fruit bowl. But, yeah, that's so bad. Okay, sorry, that was just bad. But yeah, I'm not an Apple user. I don't have Macs or iPhones or anything like that. But I'm gonna have to explore that with Android, see if it works. Have to note, go down, Danny. This was the best hour of my day. Awesome. Yes. And like I say, Esteban, I will be streaming every day this week on YouTube. By the looks of the replay of the YouTube, I may be going over to Twitch, but we will see. And I do have a guest coming on Saturday, so that one's definitely going to be a good conversation. But hopefully you have a good morning, afternoon, day, evening, whatever it happens to be where you are. Andrew, yeah, doodles help. I recall things better by recalling images. Yes. So this is something I actually mentioned in the podcast. So for those of you that don't know, John is a Notion nerd, just like myself. And we have a podcast called Notion Nerds Podcast. And we did an episode and I was talking about my mental process. And this actually relates to my wallpaper back there. For those of you that don't know, that's my wallpaper, not green screen. And my mental process, very similar to, I guess you could say, Sherlock Holmes, but time expands. Time is always growing. It just always is. It's always moving forwards. I'm now a second order, etc., etc. Universe is always getting bigger. But there are always things being molded, shaped, created inside the universe, hence the space. And what I do is I think, okay, every time I've experienced something, learned something, written something down or anything like that, it's a point, whether you class that as matter, whatever the metaphor is going to be. It's a point. On iPhone, using the shortcut feature, you can add shortcuts that open Notion links. Yes, the Notion shortcuts is very nice. So it does reduce some of the clicks, but still, I think I would prefer quick capture in voice recording. But maybe that's just my habit. From that. Yeah, so the way I think about notes is whenever I experience something, it's one point. It's like one small meteorite in the world. And then when I have another thought about that same thing, they're kind of like the way the graph view looks. You've got all these different points, and it starts to build up whatever that happens to be. In my mind, it's a planet eventually. And the more I explore that point in different directions, whether that's reading it, so I could read the same words, I could listen to the words, I could write the words myself, and I can associate those words with something else. The more I interact with the comment, the note, the reference, the article, the point, whatever that happens to be, the more I interact with it, the more I remember it, because the more interaction I've had with it, the more I've had to think about it. So what I do is I create stories with whatever it happens to be. Stories normally related to something I already know. So let's have a look. Think of a very quick example off the top of my head. Red color. Actually, you know what? Here we go. I know this is inline maths because it reminds me, obviously, of Notion's inline maths. And the only reason I know that this slash is the right slash is because when I was making Mario inside of Notion using inline maths, I had to type this so many times. So I've associated, wow, there you go, backlinks right there. I've associated Remnote inline maths with creating a Mario figure inside of Notion. And obviously Mario then can relate to anything else. But I'm making all of those links to remember what's going on. And that's how my brain works. That's how my brain goes. And then from Mario, I will go everywhere else. Obviously, Luigi comes up, green comes up. What comes up with green? Like evergreen notes. And that's where my brain goes. which is why it's very hard for me to switch off. Every single thing that I have, every point that I make, there is always somewhere to divert and go. So I mean, just so following my brain thought, I have no idea where this is going to go, so apologize. So I've gone from red inline maths to Notion Mario links to Luigi is green is evergreen notes. That's an application you can add into Notion that gives you backlinks is also linked to Remnote because Remnote has backlinks, linked to Obsidian linked to Rome. Those applications are now linked. And then you've got CSS in Obsidian, which gives you the customization of colors. So CSS and inline maths potentially could be linked, but I have no idea whether that is true because I don't I don't write CSS. I don't know how to do CSS. So maybe CSS has something to do with inline maths. I don't know. That could be a link there somewhere. And that's how my brain would work. And it would go around all over the place, connecting different things. But it means that I'm recycling all of those links all the time, refreshing those links and making those stories grow and grow, which hence the big planets. Which is why I like the graph view from a viewing perspective, because I can relate to the graph view. But I didn't like Rome's graph view, and I like Obsidian's graph view. I think I didn't like Rome's because you couldn't filter or sort it, and it literally just looked like a ton of stuff. Interesting. Yeah. And Rome, I was looking at it, I was like, that's just a load of dots and lines. What am I going to do with a load of dots and lines? Like, I can't see any of that. Yes, I know you can dial in and use it as links and follow through, but as an overview, it was way too hectic. And when I started using Obsidian's graph view, you have filtering, you have sorting, and it allowed you to dial in much easier with that. And on top of that, I haven't explored this enough yet. You have CSS obviously in Obsidian, like I mentioned. You can change the color of the dots depending on whether they're a page, a tag, or anything like that. And having the page differences is massive. It's massive for me because I can then go, okay, that's a page, that's a tag, that's a page, that's a tag. And I can then differentiate between the two different things, whether they are a topic or not. And this is what Remnote does as well. So I'm not sure, how do I grab the graph view back again? There it is, view graph. Ooh, this I believe is still in beta. So there we go. So we have, this is really slow. And it's not my computer. This is Remnote. Can I zoom out? Can I zoom out? I'm zooming out slowly. Very slowly. Wow. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so when looking at this, you can see these have a certain color. This is a different color, different color, different color. So I can see what is going on at a high level view. So I like this type of graph view. Rome's is restricted. You may be able to add CSS into a Rome graph view now. I don't know. I haven't looked into CSS in Rome yet, mainly because Rome is expensive and I don't want to spend loads of money on something that I could use another application for. It's just how it is. But yeah, that's kind of a way, my way of thinking about different things, different applications, and learning. And when I'm learning, so chess is something I'm interested in right now, not due to the Queen's Gambit. It wasn't actually that. I have watched it, but I was interested in chess like a bit before it. It's just I'd never really invested any time into it. It was just a fun game. I got some chessboards over there. It was just a fun game. And I'm learning chess. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to learn chess other than just playing a ton of chess. I want to see if I can apply my learning from master's, undergrad stuff. I want to see if I can apply how I learned academics into a practical environment of chess or coding, because both of those things I want to learn in 2021. Let me know in chat if you are also interested in learning anything about coding, because if you are, I may do some streams just literally exploring how to code and fumbling around with you all. And if you're interested in chess, I'm more than happy to stream myself playing chess and swearing at my opponent on Twitch. Because chess yesterday was irritating me. I kept making stupid mistakes and I knew I made a mistake. I don't know whether any of you play chess, but literally I moved the piece and then I was like, why did I do that? They can just do that. And then they did that. I'm like, I told you. Yeah, anyway. Sidetracked again. My brain got sidetracked again. But yeah, so coming back here, where were we going? Oh yeah, so with the graph view, this sort of view, being able to customize these it's nice as an overview. And I think I would probably use this over the sidebar in Remnote because I've been coding for a few years, definitely still a newbie. I think that depends who you compare yourself to. I recognize that with chess. Yes. I definitely want to stream chess, but I don't know how many people would be interested because I'm not that good. But then I guess, this comes back to what I was saying last stream about, do I stream something even if I'm not good at it? I think I do, just to show people that you don't have to be good at stuff. It's like, I guess, deep thoughts again. But yeah, when it comes to definitely still a newbie, everything is comparative to whoever else you're comparing yourself to. So immediately when I just said, I shouldn't be streaming chess because I'm not that good. If I compare myself to Hikaru or Magnus Carlsen, yes, I'm awful. If I compare myself to John, hi, if you're watching, I'm better than John at chess. So it depends who you compare yourself to. I say I'm better at John, and that's not just me being big-headed. I beat him in a seriously competitive chess game where the loser had to eat either peanut butter or Marmite, because I don't like either, but he didn't like Marmite, so hey, he ate that. Please make a chess learning video. It would be very interesting to see how you teach yourself to play. I've been playing chess for 5 months, and I'd love to see new ways of learning. Okay, cool. So I would say I learned how to play chess when I was young, but never played it like at all. My nan taught me how to play when I was I don't know, like 7, 8. So we played drafts way more than chess. But she taught me how to play chess because she was like, oh yeah, drafts are similar to chess. She taught me how to play, and I didn't really play. I learned when the things moved. I was like, okay, that's a diagonal, that's a straight, that's a 2 and a 1. Literally how I remembered it. That's diagonal, that's straight, that's 2 and 1. And I'm going to go on a chess rant right now. When chess teachers, this relates back to what I was saying about people expecting you to know things. When chess teachers and chess videos and stuff, they're like, D5, E takes C7, blah, blah, coordinates. Who knows all of that? I'm new to chess. That piece goes there, that piece goes there, that piece goes there. I don't know these coordinates. You've lost me. As soon as you say D5, I'm sitting there going, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we are. That's the piece. By the time I figured that out, you're already in like move 20. I'm lost. Reel it back. Slow down. Yeah. So I still have a lot to learn with chess, and learning chess is something I'm doing this year alongside the coding. I'm not interested in chess at all, but I'm curious whether you're really concentrated while playing or if you're chatting like you do with these streams. Okay, so when I play chess, when I'm doing these streams, it's exactly the same as when I'm playing chess. Is I'm talking through what I'm doing. So literally here, when I'm exploring applications, I'm talking through what I'm doing, my mental process. And obviously, Kim, you've seen me go through those streams. So I will probably not necessarily be amazing at chess whilst talking with chat as well, because obviously I'll be interacting with chat, but it's a challenge, and I like challenges. I like challenges. So this is actually something interesting. When it comes to learning, I enjoy learning, and when I first started exploring potential routes to go, so this is before I did Notion, like before I did a Notion video, and apparently people liked Notion. Who would have guessed? Before I did those videos, I was thinking maybe I do more learning type things because I enjoy learning. I've learned how to learn due to my master's degree, and I was thinking maybe I learn skills. Now I'm thinking maybe I learn skills and showing my process using the application of how I've learned those skills rather than just the process. So Mike Boyd comes to mind. Mike Boyd does great videos on how to learn whatever it happens to be. They're very physical learning skills rather than mental learning skills. So it's much more of I just need to get the feel for this rather than I need to get my brain around this. So there are lots of things like coding, like chess and things like that I would like to learn, and showing my learning process through an application I think could be valuable, could be good in a video, but I don't know. You'll have to let me know on that one. But yeah. Yeah, that is again, like, challenges, pushing boundaries is something that in 2020 I decided, you know what, I want to try and push some boundaries. Whether that's pushing boundaries, well, it was me for myself, but pushing my own boundaries, and then pushing boundaries of my abilities to create videos, be consistent. Because I can't remember who it was, someone on one stream, I can't remember who it was. They started doing videos, and they were saying that they started doing one video a week, and then they realized it was quite stressful. Like, and it is, because you give yourself an expectation, and videos, coming up with an idea, can be easy but can be difficult, and the whole creator world industry struggles with different things. And you know what? Let's make myself a little bit bigger, because I realize you're staring at Remnote. Yeah, that whole world is has their own struggles, and to be consistent with something is difficult. So I was literally like, I'm going to be consistent at this thing, learning this thing, and I'm going to challenge myself to develop it. I'm less of the 1% rule, and I just want to learn. I just want to get better. And learning is so much fun. But there is always downsides. There's always risks, and there's always the slump as well. Like, when you get to a point and you plateau, you're like, oh, this is just annoying. Why can't I just do this thing already? But it's the grind. Maybe this comes from my my competitive background in sport, but I'm pushing the limits, pushing performance, pushing mental ability, mental capacity, all those sort of things. I love it. I enjoy it, which is why I started doing YouTube. It's pushing boundaries, which is why I like talking with other people to see what they're doing, what they haven't done, what they have done, learning from other people. Because like I said earlier, I can learn all of these applications, but there can be use cases for the applications I haven't even thought of. So I don't know what I don't know. Which is why having these conversations now, like in the live streams, gives me the opportunity to see your opinions, what you think about this app, that app, how you can apply this app. Like, I wouldn't have even explored Google Keep any further, but now that Kim's mentioned it, I'm definitely going to have a look at it. The thing with teachers often is that just because you're good at something, it doesn't mean you're a good teacher. 100%. That is 100% true. And it's actually quite interesting. Obviously, doing my undergraduate degree in sports coaching and teaching is not the same thing. They're similar, not the same thing. And there is loads of studies, loads of research saying just because you're a good athlete doesn't make you a good coach. And it's exactly the same when it comes to academics. Just because you know your topic doesn't mean you can teach it. But I think a lot of people that could teach it don't want to teach it. From my experience, most people that understand a topic really well and are really good at explaining that thing normally aren't teachers. Normally they don't want to be teachers. They want to be doing stuff. They want to be learning. They want to explore, because that's the way their mind works. And they want to fully understand what's going on. And to fully understand something, I think it's an Einstein quote where if you understand something well enough, you can explain it to a 5-year-old, something like that, something along those lines. Probably just butchered it. But if you can understand something well enough, you can explain it to a 5-year-old, then you know your topic well enough. I feel like a lot of teachers know it, but don't know it well enough to explain it. Just from my experience, my observations of looking at things. And I think this is where online education is going to change that, because people can just make a video, explain whatever it happens to be, and they could be really good at explaining it. And they can have fun learning and explaining and building a community, talking with different people about whatever it is they're learning about, whatever it is they're passionate about, or whatever that happens to be. They can do that online with other people. And that's where the value is. It's the with other people bit. It's the helping other people, talking with other people, getting their experiences, and all of that good stuff. Didn't Nerdy say that something like that in chat yesterday or the day before about posting a video? Yes, it was a Nerdy and Oceaneer. Thank you, Kim. Better memory than me. Yeah, I think it was a Nerdy and Oceaneer that mentioned that. I had something in my mind, and I was going to say something, and I saw yellow, and then I saw something else. I was like, oh, there's something else, and then I forgot what I was going to say. I'm going to take a drink, because I haven't drunk anything, and it's been an hour and a half. Actually, a thought has just occurred. That wasn't one of the thoughts I was thinking of. A thought has occurred that wasn't one of the thoughts I was thinking of. Wow. Unwrap that. Music. when I'm watching streams or listening to streams in the background, I like having music on in the background, whether that's either on stream or my own music. If you're listening to music, obviously that's fine. But I'm debating about putting music on the stream. Let me know in the comments, if comments or the chat, if you're interested in listening to me talk with music going on in the background. I don't know what you guys are doing whilst you're listening to me, while you're listening to me doing whatever it is you're doing. Have you heard of Noto? I don't know if it's an Apple-only app, but I decided to explore it, and it looks pretty cool. Noto. Noto. I'm not sure. I will have a look in my little database of exploration. I have Noto 2 in there. Noto 2. I have this. I have this one in there. Yeah, so I have this one in there. This is on the list to explore. Because I saw it on Product Hunt. I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. So it's on my list to explore. It's actually, you know what? If I just bring my Obsidian over very quickly, it's figuring itself out. Let's make it a little bit bigger for a sec. Yeah, so it's in here to explore. That's an old tag. That should be there. And that should be a page as well. Let's just do this now. Notes taking, is that what there we go, that's what I called it. There we go. Yeah, so it's in there to explore. Maybe I'll have a look at that one tomorrow alongside the other application that I can't remember the name of, but I wrote down. But yeah, playing Battlefield. You're playing Battlefield 3 whilst listening to me talk. That's interesting. Multitasking, love it. Love it. Battlefield 3 is one of those. Wait a minute. Is that the one that I played? I played one of the Battlefields, but I can't remember which one. But yeah, that's one of those games that's really like large. I lose attention. My attention. Words. I get bored very quickly if something isn't happening, so I can't sit there and run for ages or get in a vehicle or something like that. So it's one of those games that's it's a great combination. The fact that you can type and play a game just shows that either you're really good at the game or the game has lots of like dry spots in it, which is immediately what goes, should I play that? Like my attention span drops very quickly. I don't care either way about the music. Awesome, Kim. It's easy without the music, but yes, did someone mention my name? Yes, we did in Oceania. I mentioned your name when we were... Actually, have you just popped in or were you here the whole time? Let's scroll up. Oh no, you were here at the beginning.Maybe you're hiding in the background. But yeah, I was talking about how it can be difficult to be consistent with whether it's a habit, learning something new, learning a new skill, learning a new app, or in your case, making a video every week. And Kim, I believe, correctly mentioned that you were struggling to make a video a week, so you're just making the videos when you feel like it, when you need to, which I completely agree with. Or I just die a lot and just jump down and hide to type. Yes. that is also a good point. That is also a good point. Jump down and hide to type. I've still got no Toto, I think. Oh, that looks like a Keep Productive video of no Toto. Yes. I'm going to explore no Toto. That's I don't know about no Toto. Oh dear. Oh, I feel like so many of you are cringing at your screens, like, why am I listening to this idiot? But yeah, I will probably explore no Toto either tomorrow or the next day, because it's been on my radar for a while. I say a few days. That's a while for an application that I haven't gone into. Most of the apps I have in my Obsidian database, or it's Obsidian at the moment, in my Notes app collection, most of them I've clicked onto it, I've looked in and gone, that's not going to replace Notion from a first look, so I'm just going to leave that there and explore it later. Some of you may be the same. But yeah, Nototo has piqued my interest. There's another one recently as well. Anydo. Is it Anydo? There was another app that looks very similar to Notion, but it's currently in beta. I'm on the waiting list to see that one. That one looks nice. In and Out was on the phone. That's fair. That. There once was a fairy whose name was Nuff. Fair enough. Sorry. Yep. that was one of my dad's jokes that I've just kind of I shouldn't have said that. That was just bad. That was just bad. Yes, that was me. Danny mentioned that someone said something about not posting a video once a week anymore, but he couldn't remember who it was. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. On behind, Danny already explained. It's all right. You can explain it again. I know. So this is actually something interesting when it comes to the comment section of my videos. Is people say I talk too quickly, and I'm thinking to myself, do I talk too quickly, or is the topic not quite explained well enough? Like, what is it that makes it hard to comprehend? Because typically, when you know what the person's talking about, you can listen to them at whatever speed it happens to be. Obviously, I think most of us here listen to things at ×2 speed. So if you're listening to people at ×2 speed, my normal talking speed isn't ×2 speed. Well, at least I don't think it is anyway. So when I see those comments, you talk too quickly, I'm thinking, okay, is that me not explaining the topic well enough? Or did I miss some information out? Again, doing the, okay, I'm trying to help someone know this thing that doesn't know this thing. So have I assumed they know something that actually they didn't know how to do? Which is highly possible. But the speaking too quickly thing, some people miss some of the words, some of the connection words, some of the things in the middle, which is potentially a negative. I explained this over on Twitch, actually. I'm not sure if I explained it in a YouTube video, but my family, just in general, we are all very quick speakers. And I think we've kind of conditioned ourselves to be quick speakers. Maybe you guys can relate, but when we're having dinner, if someone's talking and they take a breath, someone else will interrupt. Like you're eating, someone's talking, as soon as they finish, I butt in. It's like, I'm getting my point in. So you can't really afford to take breaths and go, and then carry on talking, because as soon as you take that like split second breath, maybe that's like a sibling thing, that split second breath, so poof, like, my point now. I'm going to say my point and just keep talking. And then I can't remember. I think there was like a video or a meme type video. I don't know whether it was TikTok or Facebook. I saw it, but you're talking, you're explaining things, and it's like competing against your sibling, and you're explaining things and you don't want the other person to speak. So you end up like talking whilst you're breathing in and then talking while you're breathing out. And I was like, yep. I can 100% relate to that, because it's just the way it happens to be here at home. And then, of course, even though we butt in with each other, like everyone butts in all the time, we still moan, stop butting in. And then they butt in. Like, it's literally like, stop butting in when I'm talking. And then I butt in when they're talking. I'm like, hypocrite. Oh, sorry, small rant there. Yeah. I got a notification. Oh yeah. But yeah. So this, I don't want to keep talking for YouTube, because YouTube with the algorithm stuff going on in the background, lots of people don't watch YouTube live streams on the replay for whatever reason, but some people do. So I'm going to try and keep the YouTube live streams to about 2 hours. But for those of you that are joining from YouTube and haven't seen me stream before, I plan on streaming longer than 2 hours, potentially even like 4 hours, going through different things. Most of the streams are exploring applications, learning, education, all that sort of stuff, and chit chat. Mainly chit chat, because it's just fun to talk with other people that are similar. They have similar interests. But I will probably be doing those again, maybe on YouTube, but probably over on Twitch, because I think it's just a better platform for chit chat, conversation, talking, and then keep the videos over on the YouTube. So when I have explored the application, probably on Twitch for an hour, 2 hours, swearing at things, getting frustrated, and then figuring stuff out. Once I've done that over on Twitch, I will then do a summary video on YouTube, which is probably, that's the way I'm leaning when it comes to videos, live streaming, and talking backwards and forwards. But again, always open to hear your thoughts and opinions. As a non-native speaker, I sometimes have trouble understanding someone with a heavy accent if they speak too fast, but I'm fine with your speed, just not always fast enough with a comment. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, maybe your typing speed needs to be needs to be increased to be able to keep up with what's going on. But then, to be fair, I think StreamYard is a little bit delayed as well. So when I see a comment, I then start talking, and it's probably, I think it's like 10 seconds. So you'd probably have to type really, really quick to be able to catch up with the stream delay of the comment plus whatever I'm talking about. But yes, so for those of you that are currently not aware, I'm streaming every day this week on YouTube, talking about different applications and other things very similar to this one. Chit chat about education, learning, experiences, what's going on, and if anyone has any questions, thoughts, topics, or anything like that, feel free. And what I will be doing is exploring other people's methodologies, theories, and systems, and then potentially starting a conversation about those. It's something I want to do. Obviously, Para, GTD are big topics of conversation, and I would like to bring up things like articles, tweet storms, and other things like that, and have a conversation with people about it, rather than just sitting on computer and replying to tweets like that. Like, bring it up on stream and go, okay, let's have a chat about this. You know what I mean? But yes, so I will see you guys all around the same time tomorrow. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it happens to be where you are. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 o'clock.